Είμαστε στο 4ο κύκλο των δωρεάν webinars. Λίγες μέρες μείνανε για να ολοκληρωθεί αυτό το πολύ ωραίο event, έχοντας κάποιους χιλιάδες ξενοδόχους κοντά μας, οι οποίοι πραγματικά έχουν παρακολουθήσει τα webinars και βλέπω ότι μιλάτε και με τους ομιλητές μας. Μετά υπάρχει ένα πολύ ωραίο introduction. Είμαι ο Νίκος Μωράντης, ένας από τους δύο ιδρυτές της Hotelier Academy. Πολλοί με ξέρετε από αυτό το ρόλο μου, αλλά τα τελευταία 3 χρόνια το βασικό μου έργο είναι να αναπτύσσω νέα ξενοδοχεία, να προδιαγράφω concepts, να κάνω την έρευνα και θα μιλήσουμε κάποια άλλη στιγμή γι' αυτό. Όμως, μία φορά το χρόνο έρχομαι εδώ πέρα και κάνω τον οικοδεσπότη και σας υποδέχομαι εδώ πέρα στα πάρα πολύ ωραία webinars της Hotelier Academy. Θα κλείσουμε τώρα τις επόμενες μέρες και με κάποιους international ομιλητές. Σήμερα έχουμε τον Travis Cardera από την εταιρεία Levinate που έχουν Hotel CRM Solutions και θα δείτε έχουν και άλλα κομμάτια γύρω από αυτό. Και νομίζω ότι έχει πάρα πολύ ενδιαφέρον το σημερινό topic, οπότε περιμένω με αναπομονησία να μας πει όλα αυτά τα ωραία που έχει ετοιμάσει. Γράψτε μου από ποια ξενοδοχεία είστε, να νιώσει και ο καλεσμένος μας έτσι χαρούμενος και να νιώσει ότι τον έχουμε υποδεχτεί. Θέλω να μου γράψετε και τα ονόματα των ξενοδοχείων σας και τους προορισμούς. Είναι πολύ σημαντικό γιατί είναι πολύ ωραίο να δείξουμε και το που είναι κοντά μας. Λοιπόν, θα κάνω εγώ τώρα share screen και θα σας πω ότι μην ξεχνάμε να συμμετέχουμε στην πρωτοβουλία το Grow with Google, μια πρωτοβουλία της Google που μπορεί να βοηθήσει το ξενοδοχείο σας να αναπτυχθεί και είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό για τη δυνατότητα να συμμετέχετε, να οργανώσετε, να κλείσετε ένα ραντεβού για κατηδίες βουλευτική σε ξενοδόχους και τι γίνεται εκεί, ένας ειδικά εκπαιδευμένος σύμβουλος της πρωτοβουλίας από την Google, το Grow with Google, σας εκπαιδεύει, σας ενημερώνει για το πώς μπορείτε να αξιοποιήσετε βασικά εργαλεία του διαδικτύου, βοηθώντας το ξενοδοχείο σας να αναπτυχθεί, πώς μπορείτε να ενημερώσετε σωστά τους χάρτες της Google, που είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό για το ξενοδοχείο σας, και επίσης πώς μπορείτε να δημιουργήσετε ένα ψηφιακό marketing plan. Πολύ σημαντικό γιατί οι ειδικοί άνθρωποι από την Google εκπαιδεύουν εσάς. Μόνο εσάς, βασικά δεν σας εκπαιδεύουν, σας συμβουλεύουν. Αυτό είναι το πολύ σημαντικό. Το χαρακτήρα. Τώρα, από την άλλη, υπάρχουν τα δωρεάν webinars για το ψηφιακό marketing, πάλι από ειδικά καταρτισμένους online advisors από την Google και καλύπτουν θέματα όπως το ψηφιακό marketing, Google Ads, Google Analytics. Οπότε, η Στέλλα έχει στείλει τώρα εδώ στο chat τα στοιχεία και μπορείτε να ενημερωθείτε. Βλέπω εδώ πέρα, πολύ ωραία, αρχίζετε και μας γράφετε ποια ξενοδοχεία είναι κοντά μας. Σε λίγο θα αναφέρω κάποιους από εσάς. Όσοι είστε στο YouTube, στο LinkedIn ή στο Facebook, γράψτε πάλι με comment τα ξενοδοχεία σας και ο Πάρης θα μου τα περάσει εδώ πέρα στο chat. Και τα ξενοδοχεία σας και τους προορισμούς σας. Είναι πολύ σημαντικό λοιπόν να βλέπουμε και από ποιους προορισμούς μας παρακολουθείτε. Το σημερινό θέμα είναι πολύ ενδιαφέρον. Είναι Hotel Guest Relations, using digital tools to improve guest relationships and drive direct bookings with less staff. Πολύ σημαντικό αυτό, γιατί, τι μας λέει, είναι, πρώτα απ' όλα θα είναι στα αγγλικά, έτσι, είναι international ο ομιλητής μας, ελπίζω να μην σας δυσκολεύσουμε κάποιους από εσάς, αλλά δεν γίνεται διαφορετικά, πρέπει να έχουμε λίγο και την τεχνογνωσία και το εξωτερικό. Καλά αυτά που λέμε εδώ πέρα στην Ελλάδα και είμαστε πολύ πρωτοπόλοι, αλλά υπάρχουν και international εταιρείες που μπορούν να μοιραστούν τεχνογνωσία μαζί μας. Και θα μας πει πώς μπορούμε να αυξήσουμε τις κρατήσεις και με λιγότερο προσωπικό. Πολύ σημαντικό. Πριν πάμε σε αυτό, θα σας πω ότι τα free webinars της Hotelier Academy διοργανώνονται μια φορά το χρόνο, κάθε Φεβρουάριο. Δεν θα σας μιλήσω για τα άλλα κανάλια της Academy, θα σας πω πολύ γρήγορα. Venue μας είναι που μας φιλοξενεί και τώρα τον Travis βάλαμε ένα virtual background αφού δεν μπορεί να είναι εδώ πέρα κοντά μας και είναι ένα πολύ ωραίο ξενοδοχείο. Travis, because you are hearing me, this is the hotel of the background, the Foundry Suites. Οπότε yeah, it's a great hotel here in my neighborhood. So I'm going back into it again and then I'm coming to you in English.
Okay.
Οπότε είναι αυτός το επίσημο venue που μας φιλοξενεί και είναι πάρα πολύ ωραίο το γεγονός ότι μας έχει χαρίσει πραγματικά ένα φοβερό περιβάλλον. Όσοι ομιλητές μπορούν να έρθουν, βγαίνουν από το Foundry, όσοι δεν μπορούν, βγαίνουν με ένα virtual background το οποίο μας δίνει την αίσθηση. Μπορείτε να κάνετε follow και στα social media, γιατί περίπου 250 και παραπάνω άνθρωποι έχουν κάνει follow ήδη από τη μέρα που ξεκινήσαμε. Ας ενισχύσουμε ένα Instagram account. Αν το ξενοδοχείο σας ήταν αυτό που μας φιλοξενούσε, δεν θα θέλατε όλος ο κόσμος να το ακολουθήσει. Οπότε, κάντε και εσείς το follow στο Foundry Suites, γιατί πραγματικά πιστεύω ότι είναι ένα ξενοδοχείο που αξίζει τον κόπο να το ακολουθήσουμε. Λοιπόν, πάρα πολύ γρήγορα, οι υποστηρικτές μας, η εταιρεία με τα ξενοδοχειακά στρώματα, Coffee Island, η εταιρεία η οποία εξειδικεύεται στο καφέ και μας έκανε και ένα φοβερό webinar χθες, Epsilon Hospitality, η εταιρεία η οποία έχει και το Pylon PMS και έχει διάφορες άλλες τεχνολογίες, Ideas, το RMS που γνωρίσατε μέσα από τη Hotelier Academy και θα έχουμε ένα πολύ ωραίο webinar αύριο, Sweetpad, η εταιρεία με τα tablets και The Hotel Content Company, η εταιρεία η οποία φτιάχνει ξενοδοχειακό περιεχόμενο. Μην ξεχάσουμε να πούμε και ένα ευχαριστώ στους χορηγούς μας επικοινωνίας, το 100% Hotel Show, την έκθεση για ξενοδοχεία, το Επιχειρώ, το e-Travel News, τον Αλέξη Σωτηρόπουλο, το Skywalker, αλλά και το GTP, Greek Travel Pages, που πραγματικά αποτελεί το κορυφαίο media. Πάμε να δούμε τώρα λοιπόν ποια ξενοδοχεία είναι μαζί μας εδώ πέρα, για να δημιουργήσουμε έτσι μια ωραία ατμόσφαιρα. Βλέπετε, τώρα που έχω international ομιλητή, το πάω πιο γρήγορα, για να μην ακούει ο άνθρωπος, δεν ξέρει τι λέμε τώρα. Προσπαθώ και να έχει ένα πιο καλό, τέλος πάντων, να μην ακούει έναν άνθρωπο να μιλάει κατάπαυστα. Λοιπόν, βλέπουμε εδώ πέρα ότι είναι κοντά μας το Domes of Aulus, τα Domes στα ξενοδοχεία. Πραγματικά τα αγαπάω πάρα πολύ και είναι από τα brands τα οποία είναι χαρά μας να τα έχουμε στην Ελλάδα. Φοβερή αλυσίδα ξενοδοχείων, Ελακάτι Luxury Boutique Hotel από τη Ρόδο, από τη Σαντορίνη, Atlantic Dreams Resort and Spa στη Ρόδο και πάλι. Η Ρόδος είναι πολύ ενεργή, όπως και το Πέτρινο Suites στην Άφητο στη Χαλκιδική. Βλέπουμε εδώ πέρα ποια άλλα ξενοδοχεία. Lani Bay, από την Κρήτη το Ivy Styles, το ακτή το Roni Boutique Hotel. Το Roni, πολύ ωραία, δηλαδή έχουμε και άλλη Χαλκιδική. Στράτος Βίλα στα Χανιά, Ποσειδών Συνεδριψό, Συντρόπια Hotel Ρέτινο, Coconut Villas. Βλέπω εδώ, Μάρκο, είσαι κάθε μέρα. Θα κάνεις πολύ ωραίο ξενοδοχείο. Ασάνα Κορφού. Τέλεια ξενοδοχεία, πολύ ωραία. Μας δείχνει το επίπεδο που υπάρχει στην ξενοδοχειακή αγορά, γιατί όλοι εσείς που παρακολουθείτε όλα αυτά τα webinars, θεωρώ ότι είστε εσείς που θα κάνετε τα καλύτερα ξενοδοχεία αύριο ή θα βελτιώσετε τα καταλήμματά σας. Τώρα, πάμε στον καλεσμένο μας, τον Travis Cabrera από την Revinate την εταιρεία. Είναι μια εταιρεία που είναι international, έχει και στην Αμερική portfolio και στην Ευρώπη, κάνει expand και στην Ευρώπη και θα το καλωσορίσουμε. Welcome Travis, sorry for the Greek, but I had to make the introduction in English.
Hey, well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Nikos, for the invite. Happy to be here.
We are very happy, and we are happy that international companies have interest in the Greek market as well. And we anticipate to hear your ideas. And thank you very much that you will share your know-how with all these great hoteliers that are together with us today.
Perfect. Yeah, happy to do so. Shall we get into it?
Yes, let's start.
Okay. Let me share my screen and go ahead. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for this event. And thanks to the Hotelier Academy for inviting Revinate. We're going to go through a very exciting topic. As we all know, the pandemic has significantly shifted how hoteliers and also how travelers are interacting and engaging with each other. And if you think about just the evolution of the last 20, 25 years, the last big breakthrough that we saw in our industry was the OTAs in the early 2000s. And so you're now seeing this next transformation whereby technology, smart technology, and data have sort of become the forefront topic as to how hotels plan on leveraging that to control the direct relationship with their guests and to drive and scale the direct, revenue channels, and to improve and enhance the guest experience. So I'm happy to be here. Maybe just a quick introduction from myself. I'm living in Barcelona by way of Colorado in the US. I've been out in Europe now for 13 years. Absolutely love it. I think the simplicity and the quality of life is much better here than in the States. So by the way, my favorite personal vacation holiday has been to Greece. And I've been to a lot of different places here in Europe. So Greece is still number one in my books. Let's get into the topics itself. I think if we think about the state of the industry, as hoteliers now aim to come out of yet another wave of the pandemic, what are we, 24 months, into this thing, is undoubtedly trying to position yourselves as hoteliers where you can achieve profitability, you can make up for lost revenue. There remains a significant, massive challenge, and that's around staff, right? Recruiting and staffing has been a global problem, okay? If you think about when the pandemic started, the World Travel and Tourism Council had predicted that 121 million out of 330 million jobs that are tied to tourism would be lost due to the pandemic. That means that 1 out of 3 roles in hospitality or in tourism would need to be rehired, right? And so what hotels have done, the smart hotels that are thinking about, hey, I maybe cannot run my hotel the same way I did pre-pandemic. What are they doing to leverage technology to help them come out of this successfully? Okay. So the agenda that we'll go through are 5 talking points that all tie into what should hoteliers be thinking about when it comes to, recovering from the pandemic and to see great results and great success. Okay, so we'll talk about limited resources. What do you do around that? How do you automate a lot of the processes that are repeatable, that maybe you can lean on technology to do, that will free up your staff to do other more meaningful tasks and projects? About maintaining productivity and also keeping your guests happy, okay? And then the last 2 talking points kind of lean more into how do you protect and motivate your staff whilst also maximizing these channels to improve direct revenues and profit, okay? We commissioned a global survey last year just to get an idea, right? An accurate idea of what this crisis meant when we're thinking about staff shortages and recruiting challenges, okay? And so I'll just share a couple of key highlights that came out of this study and how it positions into what we're doing as a leading technology provider in hospitality to help our customers, okay? It doesn't take an economist to understand that this pandemic has been far-reaching, right? When we polled our customer base in this survey, what came out was that nearly 95% of hotels admitted that they were having challenges around recruiting, okay? And so that means that hotels have had to shift. They have staff members who are maybe working double shifts, or if I'm a hotel group that has 8 properties, maybe rather than opening all 8 at the same time for summer season, they've had to stagger their opening dates to be able to utilize those limited resources to help out with those hotels. Or that means that we've been, working off of limited hours in our restaurant, right? Or we can't clean rooms every day like we used to. So that has been a far-reaching, or has had a far-reaching impact on the industry. As well, right, 60% of hotels admitted that they're short-staffed, which has really had an impact on staff members feeling burnout, right, overworked, and obviously it's had a negative impact on the guest experience. So what hoteliers need to think about is, what are some of the things that we do that we can free up some of that labor, resources, and hours and time, and to do that in a more effective way? And here's just a quote that I like from a customer of ours in North America, just to highlight how the impact of this crisis has really affected multiple areas within a hotel business. Okay. And by the way, this customer also leverages Revenate, and I'm going to show you an example of what that strategy looks like. Okay. A key element is how hotels have leveraged automation as a strategic partner, let's say, or a role that can help mitigate the crisis. Okay, think about simple things, right? Online check-in that a lot of hotels have gone to, right? Which could free up having to have a fully staffed front desk, allowing your guests to check in online, check out online. Maybe it's keyless room entry with mobile apps. I've even heard customers where they've gone away from delivering the physical newspapers to the rooms, and now they provided email with the link to the local newspaper in an email. Okay, so those are just simple, common ways that hotels have leveraged automation to free up some of those things that they were doing before. Okay, so another element that you have to think about is when you have smart technology, there's a lot that you can do that still provides and enables your team members to contribute in a very helpful way to drive the bottom line, to drive revenue and profitability. And you think about a simple use case of connecting your property management system. Okay, all hotels will have one, and connecting that with your email marketing platform. Okay, simple things. When somebody makes a booking, you send over a confirmation email. In many cases, hotels have upgraded that experience where they don't send that from maybe the property management system, because that, one size fits all confirmation will be the same for all guests. Now they have the ability to be able to send it to personalize everybody within that booking experience. Okay. Also, it talks about, there's certain touch points throughout the customer journey, the guest journey, that you should be engaging with your guests. Okay, we mentioned the confirmation email. There could be pre-arrival touch points that's informing your guests about key procedures or policies that could be tied to COVID. It could be welcoming a guest who has already been with you in the past, welcoming them back. Right, it could be a on-property message from your general manager, and then obviously everything post-stay. So there's strategic touch points that you want to be able to leverage and not have to do that manually is about the only really viable way to scale this and to have that sustainable over time. So I want to share some of those ways with you and how it has an impact on driving direct bookings and higher revenues. So let's kick this off. When we get into the customer journey, I'll kind of analyze this. I put together a customer journey to give you an example of how this plays out for a lot of hoteliers who are leaning on systems like Revenate. Okay, so you think about the inspiration stage. How do you get your guests, obviously your prior guests, how do you stay top of mind with them and get them to come back for future visits? During the pandemic, a lot of markets were closed down, right? So you were sort of leaning on your domestic guests to drive that leisure business. So I'm going to share a couple examples there. And that leads into the pre-stay, obviously the on-property, and the post-stay. So there's some key levers that you want to initiate if you think about doing this in a personalized, professional manner. So let's get through this and kick off this example with my good friend, Jessica. Okay, she's the traveler that we'll use in this example. And let's say she's looking at a trip to come to Greece, okay? She's going to be searching online. She's going to be looking at the Google, the TripAdvisors, the Booking.coms, the places where you find reviews, Facebook, all right? That's going to be a key influence, as we all know, that's going to help her determine which hotel she books, along with location and obviously rates, prices. So let's say she finds this hotel, Everton Hotel, okay? She's on the website, and you know what? She makes an action where she's gonna leave that hotel page. Well, then the hotel can deliver up this exit pop-up where you're capturing Jessica's details, as simple as her email address, okay? What that does is it captures Jessica's email, right? It creates a rich guest profile in a system like Revenate, noting even which page that she visited on your website. In this case, she had interest in a spa offer. Now, the next stage of this comes into, okay, how do I then win that guest back? The number one lost booking conversion opportunity that hotels are not investing today is the guests that visit your website that shows some sort of interest, right? If it's just looking at your spa page, or if it's actually in your booking engine and they're about to make a booking, but for whatever reason, they leave that page, okay? Our stats show that 85% of potential guests of yours leave your websites and they don't come back. They either book you indirectly or they book a competitor. So in this example, you're capturing the data, and then what a lot of hotels will do is initiate these certain levels of follow-up emails, okay? Drip emails. So what this did here for Jessica is she actually received one that had interest to her. All right, so she makes a booking, okay, based off one of these offers that she received from the Avertine Hotel. Now what happens is she gets that confirmation email, right? It's on brand, it's beautiful as your website is, as your physical property is. It doesn't look stagnant like what you'd see from a property management system confirmation email. And you know what? You have an opportunity to capture more information from Jessica, right? Jessica, what are your preferences? In order to deliver that exceptional experience that you're looking for, please tell us more about you. So Jessica fills that out, right? And she leaves her information. The hotel is mining that data, right? They put it in their repository, so they have their data sitting there, and that will help us once Jessica checks in. Now, 3 days before she checks in, Jessica receives a highly personalized pre-arrival email, okay? And an opportunity to enhance her stay based on the preferences that she gave us. She told us she had an interest in spa. So she upgrades her room and she also adds in the spa special, okay? All of that then ties back to her guest profile. So over time, we're learning more about Jessica. We're knowing what's, connecting with our guests, what may not be, and then also being able to measure the revenue growth based off these touch points. So the next touch point comes into place where she arrives on property and she receives a nice warm welcome message from the general manager. Okay, and again, this is automated. Okay, and it's based on her profile. If Jessica was a repeat guest, maybe the general manager is going to say, "Welcome back, Jessica," right? Versus "Welcome to the first time. Thank you for making a booking with us." So that just level of recognition and personalization goes a long way into maintaining and controlling the relationship with your guests. Now, she gets into the next stage where she's, a day into her beautiful stay there at the Avertine Hotel. Then now the hotel reaches out with a very quick, hassle-free, what we call an in-stay survey. Okay, this has become really popular since the pandemic started, where hotels want to be able to mitigate, right, or kind of understand, hey, maybe a guest is not having a proper stay or something's not working right. Let's find that out now before it turns into a post-stay, bad review on TripAdvisor. Now, in this case, we're able to identify that Jessica has issues with the temperature in her room. Great, fantastic. We've been able to highlight that. We can automate a ticket to the maintenance team or housekeeping to then provide that service recovery. Okay, great point. Into the next. Now, Jessica's departing, right? She had a great stay. Everything was delivered. Maintenance came and fixed her issue with the heater, with the air conditioning. And now she's been able to, provide a post-stay survey detailing everything about her stay. In that same moment, she's able to then publish a positive review on TripAdvisor, Google, and other channels, right? Because she gave you a good review, an internal review, right? We're able to then store in Revenate her Net Promoter Score. So now what you're doing is you're mining all your guests who have stayed with you indirect or directly, and you're able to say, hey, let's go out and target all of our guests who have given us a 9 or a 10, who are classified as your promoters in that NPS scoring system. Let's go out and retarget them because we know that they'll have a higher likelihood of coming back. And that's what happened. Okay, here a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, Jessica receives a follow-up email. Because we captured her date of birth, we send her a happy birthday email. And again, no one has to do this manually, right? No one would have enough time to mine the data in your system to be able to recognize that Jessica has a birthday coming up next Friday. But through automation, you're able to trigger that. Okay, so that hit something with Jessica. Oh, that's fantastic. I had a great stay. And they also reached out wishing me happy birthday. Okay, down the road, we send her a We Miss You campaign. Okay, 6 months later, recognizing that Jessica has not been with us for 6 months. And that's just a great touch point to stay top of mind with your guests. Now, we're promoting our sister property, saying, Jessica, you may have loved the Everteen. We just opened a new property that's close to where you reside. Okay, fantastic. Now she makes her next booking. Upon arrival, the hotel staff is able to see a full picture of Jessica. Okay, they know that she stayed at us prior 6 months ago. We can also link in and see her full guest profile, knowing exactly what she upgraded, the survey feedback that she had given us, what room type she stayed, how long did she stay for, how much did she spend on property. That's fantastic for the front desk and concierge teams to know. Okay, now what happens, because she's being delivered this personalized, consistently great experience, okay, she then gets a VIP survey, which is not the same that we sent her the first time, because again, we can recognize that she's a repeat guest. So we are recognizing her as a repeat guest. We give her a different survey. She fills it out and she gives us great feedback on TripAdvisor. Now she's actively twice been a brand promoter of our hotel. Okay, and there's no better marketing than free marketing. And that's exactly what Jessica's done in 2 instances, leave positive feedback. Now, one of Jessica's network friends had seen her 5-star review on TripAdvisor. And so that sparked some interest for Todd to reach out and to see, hey, what's this Everteen group all about? So he also signs up to their newsletter or to their marketing database. And the hotel was able to realize, hey, Todd was actually visiting the restaurant page. Okay, so we know what his interests were. Now what happens is, in that same instance, because the activity is tied to Jessica, we send her another message saying, Jessica, you know what? You're one stay away from reaching the next tier level in our loyalty program, right? We love the opportunity to incentivize you to make your next booking, which she does. Okay. And so that gets you into, if I just stop there for a second, that kind of just highlights, again, these are all automated messages, right? No one has to set up anything where they're going back and having to trigger this manually. And the beautiful part is that you're mining all that data. Okay, every interaction you have with your guest, every reaction that they give you, if it's a booking, if it's a survey result, if it's the fact that their friend booked on behalf of seeing a review, all of that will tie back to that guest profile. So over time, what you're doing here is you're building a rich data asset that enables you to control the relationship that you have with your guests, control the communication that you have with your guests, and you're driving your most valuable guests back into your hotel or hotels if you're part of a collection. Okay. Now, I'm going to transition a little bit into another hot topic that still connects to the same utilizing digital platforms to drive that on-property experience. So this relates into what we did late last year. Revenate acquired a AI-powered digital concierge platform called GoMoment. Okay, GoMoment is out of Los Angeles. And as a reference point, they work with 70% of the Las Vegas Strip hotels. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of things that also have become really a hot item for hotels, where they're trying to mitigate a lot of the staff shortages issues. Okay, so let me go through a couple of these with you. So AI digital concierge, okay? The simple way to think about this is that there's a lot of messaging apps out there or systems whereby it's all reactive. meaning your guests have to find that app, right? Download it, which is also another challenge. But if it's simple as, WhatsApp, okay, they would need to initiate that conversation with you. Hey, I'm having issues with the air conditioner in my room. When you have an AI-powered concierge, you can be more proactive, right? You can say, hi, Travis, welcome back to Aberdeen Hotel. I'm Ivy, your digital concierge. Shall you have any questions, needs? Please just WhatsApp us or send us an SMS or Facebook Messenger. Okay, so it gives your guests the ability to engage with you on their preferred channel, right? Which could be email, or it could be SMS, or it could be WhatsApp, as an example. Now, from the hotelier side, why this has become really popular is that, phone calls have become sort of outdated, where it's tying up expensive labor costs, right? Where your staff are maybe answering the same questions. What's the password to the Wi-Fi? And they're answering that phone call 50 times a day, okay? Also, it frustrates guests who may not know how to use the hotel room phones. This gives them their preferred way to communicate, which could be through WhatsApp, as an example, here in Europe. Also, what it's done is it's freed up a lot of the burnout results that staff are feeling, right? Working long hours, double shifts, they're feeling overwhelmed. It's obviously affecting the guest experience. Hey, if I can alleviate and not have to answer that phone 50 times about the Wi-Fi password, that's just going to give me more gratification that I'm doing more relative, more important tasks as a staff member of this hotel versus answering the phone all day. And if you think about just how we all, as consumers in our own personal lives, use our phones, right? This is a big part of our lives. If you think about email versus WhatsApp, as an example, right? Any SMS or omni-channel messaging, that 90% of those messages are opened up within 3 minutes of somebody receiving them. Where if you compare that to email, as we all know, if you had 20% open rate on an email, offered to your database, that would be considered a successful campaign at 20%. So you can just see the differences with how we as consumers utilize these omni channels. And now you see hotels investing to be able to have that communication opportunity with their guests. Okay. So you think about, I mentioned this, it enables leveraging smart technology like AI. It gives your guests the opportunity to ask questions, to place orders. And the neat thing about AI with any computer learning algorithms is the more activity you do on those platforms, over time, they become smarter, right? So they can answer more questions in a year from now than today because they're learning what are your guests asking about. Right, and that's where I mentioned the AI part of it. Right, is in our system we've been able to alleviate up to 50% of those repetitive questions, whereby now AI can just automatically within seconds or minutes reply to your guests, and then also have the capabilities of having your staff answer to more of the more complex or kind of open-ended questions that may require a human to intervene. Now, if you think about the complete guest experience from an omni-channel perspective, right, it really starts at the pre-stay. Okay, so it could be online check-in prior to the guest checking in. It could be an SMS once they land at the airport. Just a quick reminder of check-in procedures and policies, how to get to the hotel. And then it gets into the check-in process, whereby reminder that, hey, Friday is happy hour from 5 to 8. Here's activities we have over the weekend. A lot of our customers who have big wedding business in the summertime, they're able to set up group chats whereby the entire wedding party is, able to get updates, been able to, hey, what time is the rehearsal dinner? What time do we need to be at the wedding, right? That's a great way to be able to set up group messaging whereby you don't need a human to intervene, right? And so that plays out through the in-stay, and then obviously the checkout process is to be able to deliver those hey, Travis, would you mind giving us 5 minutes of your time to fill out this survey? Would you mind leaving us a positive review on TripAdvisor based on your guests telling you that they had a great stay? And we've actually seen hundreds, if not thousands of reviews, if you go to TripAdvisor and other sites, whereby guests, travelers are giving our customers, hotel customers, great feedback, positive reviews, and they're mentioning in their review the word Ivy, right, which is that digital concierge, right? Ivy made that experience exceptional because she was able to answer their questions fast. She was available at 2 a.m. in the morning, whereby maybe it's difficult to get, somebody at the front desk. Okay. And if you think about it from a consumer perspective, right, it has to be lightweight. I think the common difficulty with independent hotels, if you're not a Marriott or an IHG, or a Hilton property, where you have thousands and thousands of hotels and you got millions of people in your loyalty program, right? It's really difficult to get your guests to download a mobile app, okay? Whereby if you make it web responsive, okay, here's an example of SMS. If it was in WhatsApp, you'd see the same conversation thread. Your guests interact with you as if they were just talking to one of their friends or family members on WhatsApp. Now, to finish off this presentation, how are we doing on time? Looking pretty good. I'm going to give you a couple examples of some success stories that our customers are gaining based on what their strategy is, right? What they wanted to achieve with technology, with automation, and how are they doing that within Revenate. So my first case study I'll share with you is a hotel group, which is globally based out of the Asia Pacific market. And their number one goal, right, bar none, was they wanted to be able to increase direct bookings. They were seeing their business across their collection become more dominant on the OTA side. And it was really time for them to put the feet in the sand and say, okay, let's try to put a strategy together where we can drive our own guests back into our property and not spend so much to reacquire our guests indirectly. So they deployed our email marketing CRM. They're obviously investing in their database health, which means that they're capturing emails. If they can recognize that Travis came from an OTA channel, let's make sure that front desk is asking Travis for his personal email upon check-in, right, or upon checkout. They're leveraging our targeting and smart segmentation, whereby they can deliver 85% of the customer journey in an automated fashion, which frees up their team members to do other activities and to feel like they're contributing more to the profit and revenue strategies of the hotel. Now, they went from generating $250,000 to $750,000 in direct revenue, which is 150% increase from what they were doing before to now. Next case study. This is a hotel, okay? This is a hotel based in Holland, part of the Van der Valk Hotel Collection. And of course, like many hotels, one of their strategies was driving direct, but also it was specifically to the leisure market due to the fact that their corporate business really took a big hit during the pandemic. And one thing really important to them was to leverage our segmentation capabilities, where they're able to hone in and really highlight who those leisure guests were. And because Europe was, for many months, 2 years, potentially through different periods, certain markets weren't able to travel to, certain countries. They were able to leverage our segmentation to really hone in on the leisure markets of where those countries that were able to come into the Holland market. And they saw a 200% increase in their leisure bookings by making that a focus and a key strategy. Now, lastly, the last customer case study I have here is also another customer here based in Europe, where they had a little bit of different strategy, okay? I think if you think about good data, what's the key to driving good direct bookings? You gotta have good data. Okay, if your data is clean, you're able to segment and target off that will enable you to drive personalization throughout the customer journey. Now, if you're really good at doing those two things, by nature and by a result, you're going to see direct bookings coming in. So this hotel group, their specific goal was they wanted to personalize every experience throughout that journey. Okay, so it was leaning more on data-driven technology, right? Not making the guesses of what they thought was going to work or what they think this segment's going to like, is really making data-driven decisions that really help them improve the personalized customer journey. I mentioned the pre-arrivals, even your confirmation emails, on property, general manager welcoming guests back, welcoming guests for the first time, and then everything post-stay and all your touch points throughout that non-property experience. So for them, they're very pleased the fact that, hey, personalized service is increasing, our guest scores are increasing because we're delivering on personalization, and as a byproduct, they've seen an increase with their revenue across the board. All right, I'm gonna leave my details here. Again, I want to thank the Academy for inviting us. I was a fill-in for my colleague Hank, who's ill this week, but I'm glad that I was able to participate. Here's my details. If anybody would like to learn more about anything related to this topic, it doesn't have to be only just Revenate, but if you just want some insights or some professional advice, because we are in the industry, we talk to hundreds, if not thousands of hotels daily, weekly, monthly. Please reach out. My details are located here, my mobile number and my email. Thanks again.
Thank you very, very much for this insightful presentation. I really loved the case study and the characters that you have built so as to explain to people the journey of the traveler and how your technology involves in it and the case studies. And I'm pretty sure that if hoteliers use a technology like yours, can automate all the procedure of the communication with the traveler, and they also can increase their revenue and reduce the operation cost as well, and stabilize the quality of the communication. This is also something very important, because we have figured out that at many hotels, the staff is not ready to communicate with the best way. There is a big move of people in the hotel industry. So it's very important. Let me explain it in Greek for a while.
Sure.
Λέω ότι η τεχνολογία αυτή βοηθάει όχι απλά να αυτοματοποιήσουμε τη διαδικασία. Η αυτοματοποίηση βοηθάει σε τρία πράγματα, όπως εξήγησα πριν από λίγο. Βοηθάει αφενός στο να αυξήσουμε το revenue, αφού ξέρουμε σε συγκεκριμένα touch points ότι θα επικοινωνήσουμε με τον ταξιδιώτη, που είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό. Μειώνει το operation cost, και όχι μειώνει τον αριθμό του προσωπικού, μειώνει τον κόπο του προσωπικού. Αφού 5 πράγματα είναι να τα πείτε ούτως ή άλλως, βάλτε ένα συγκεκριμένο τρόπο να τα πείτε και μια συγκεκριμένη μεθοδολογία. Και το τρίτο, το πάρα πολύ σημαντικό, είναι ότι σταντάρετε, στην ουσία κρατάτε την ποιότητα σε ένα επίπεδο. Είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό αυτό. Επίσης, δεν σας φοβίζει η μετακίνηση του προσωπικού, δηλαδή αυτά γίνονται αυτοματοποιημένα. Και στο κάτω-κάτω, γιατί το front office να έχει να κάνει όλη αυτή τη δουλειά, αν υπάρχει μια τεχνολογία που μπορεί να το κάνει όλο αυτό. Οπότε, μια τεχνολογία όπως τη Revenate, που είναι πολύ user-friendly κιόλας, δηλαδή είναι πολύ σημαντικό αυτό, ότι είναι ο ξενοδόχος, δεν έχει να δώσει effort, μια φορά θα το σετάρει και μετά από εκεί και πέρα όλη τη δουλειά θα την κάνει η Revenate. Οπότε, δείτε αυτές τις τεχνολογίες. Έχουμε δώσει τα στοιχεία του Travis στο chat, στο Zoom, οπότε όσοι από εσάς ενδιαφέρεστε, ζητήστε για ένα demo και νομίζω ότι θα σας βοηθήσει πολύ. Travis, one question please. Can hoteliers have a demo version of your solution? Can they test it?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do was to give them a formal introduction first, but we have no issues providing some access. But okay. I think we just have to be careful and have a conversation first, because that stuff can easily get in the hands of the wrong people. So we just have to be respectful of that. So my only request would be is to reach out to me directly. We can have a conversation, understand what your needs are, and then as part of your validation process, I'm more than happy to provide that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Travis, very much. We can also connect in Instagram, that we are going live in a while, so I can make you a few questions there, backstage questions. So thank you very much, and we are very happy that you are together with us. We have sent your contact details in the chat, so people can contact directly with you. They can check the solution of Revinate, and I'm pretty sure that many of us here will make a test of your solution, because it's really helpful. And I loved the part of the traveler profile, especially for the repeaters that are coming again. So the front office has a very clear view of the profile of the traveler. This is something very useful, I believe.
Great, good stuff, Nikos. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.